Well, now that Donald Trump is back in the White House, impeachment is back in the air again in Washington. Not the impeachment of Donald Trump this time, but the impeachment of any judge who rules against Donald Trump. Donald Trump's vice president has now taken on the role, first modeled in the vice presidency by Richard Nixon's criminally corrupt Republican Vice President Spiro Agnew, who gleefully became the Nixon White House's attacker-in-chief. Spiro Agnew, who was later found to be taking bribes while in the White House, mounted the kind of nasty public attacks on liberals and any opponents of the Nixon administration that Richard Nixon thought were beneath the dignity of the president and therefore the job of his vice president. It was Vice President James D. Vance who decided that judges should have no power over a president if the president is named Trump. Vice President Vance said if a judge tried to tell a general how to conduct a military operation, that would be illegal. If a judge tried to command the attorney general in how to use her discretion as a prosecutor, that's also illegal. Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. The impeachment cry was taken up by South African turned Canadian turned American citizen Elon Musk, who has never publicly demonstrated the slightest comprehension of jurisprudence in any country. Donald Trump has not yet used the word impeachment for any of the judges who have ruled against him, but he has said that the judge who Vice President Vance and Elon Musk are opposed to and Musk wants to impeach, Donald Trump said, no judge should, frankly, be allowed to make that kind of a decision. One requirement of being a Trump supporter from the time he issued the Muslim travel ban on the first week of his first presidency through all of his criminal prosecutions has been the need to agree with Donald Trump that every judge who rules against him in any way is a bad judge, a corrupt judge, someone who should not be a judge. And so, since that first week of Donald Trump's first presidency, he has been campaigning against the very legitimacy of judges. In Trump world, the only way to prove a judge is fair is to rule in favor of Donald Trump. As a majority of the Supreme Court justices, including 3 he appointed, have faithfully done for Donald Trump, leaving him now possibly beyond the reach of any judges. Donald Trump's lawyers, fighting all of the restraining orders that judges have imposed on the Trump administration in the last week, are now studying the applications of the Supreme Court's decision to grant Donald Trump immunity from criminal charges last year. Trump lawyers are now studying every word of that decision, which created a new doctrine of presidential immunity that did not exist in the Constitution, to find how it applies in civil cases brought by opponents of Donald Trump and Elon Musk's mass firings of government workers and complete shutdown of a congressionally created agency. The other campaign Donald Trump has been on since the first year of his presidency is a campaign to delegitimize criminal investigations, since Donald Trump became the subject of a criminal investigation by special counsel Robert Mueller, a Republican, in the first year of Donald Trump's first presidency. When Donald Trump was charged criminally by the Manhattan District Attorney, he then tried to attack everything the Manhattan District Attorney was doing in his case and other cases. Donald Trump was found guilty in that case of maintaining fraudulent business records in his payoffs to porn star Stormy Daniels. After Donald Trump was indicted in that Manhattan case, special counsel Jack Smith indicted Donald Trump twice. First in Florida for Donald Trump's illegal possession of classified material, which included violations of the Espionage Act. Then in Washington, D.C., in a federal indictment of criminal conspiracy against the United States in Donald Trump's attempt to overturn the 2020 presidential election leading up to and on January 6th. Donald Trump's war on prosecutors has taken more than just rhetorical form. When Donald Trump pardoned every single person who was charged with a crime on January 6th, including every single person who was convicted of violently assaulting police officers, Donald Trump was simultaneously attacking every federal prosecutor who worked on those cases and has since, Donald Trump has since attempted to fire every one of those prosecutors. On his way to New Orleans yesterday, Donald Trump was asked about pardoning people who assaulted police officers on January 6th.
You were going to meet with first responders today, but you pardoned people who assaulted first responders.
No, I pardoned people that were assaulted themselves. They were assaulted by our government. I pardoned J6 people who were assaulted by our government. That's who assaulted, and they were treated unfairly. There's never been a group of people in this country, outside of maybe one instance that I can think of, but I won't get into it, that were treated more horribly than the people of J6. So, no, I didn't assault. They didn't assault. They were assaulted. And what I did was a great thing for humanity.
Imagine the screaming from reporters if Joe Biden had ever said anything as utterly insane as that. I pardoned people who were assaulted themselves. They didn't assault, they were assaulted. Think about the depth of pathology that allows you to tell a lie like that in a world where everyone has seen the people who Donald Trump pardoned not being assaulted, but violently assaulting and in many cases trying to kill police officers. Donald Trump is telling you that what you just saw did not happen. Donald Trump is telling you that you didn't see what you just saw. The only word for that is madness. That is not audacity. Audacity can be a noble and brave quality. It is far beyond audacity to say that you didn't see what you just saw. To say you didn't see on January 6th on this network and on every network exactly what you did actually see on January 6th live when it was happening. We all saw Donald Trump's supporters assaulting police officers. And Donald Trump said yesterday, they didn't assault, they were assaulted. And what that must mean then is that they were assaulted by those cruel prosecutors who prosecuted them for doing nothing, because that's what prosecutors do in Trump world. They prosecute the January 6th attackers for doing nothing. They prosecute Donald Trump for doing nothing. And tonight, Donald Trump has added 2 more stories in his world of prosecutors prosecuting people for doing nothing. Tonight, Donald Trump pardoned former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, who was convicted unanimously by a jury in Illinois for trying to sell an appointment to the United States Senate after Senator Barack Obama was elected to the presidency. They got Blagojevich on tape committing the crime. And tonight, Donald Trump said it was an honor to pardon one of the 4 Illinois governors who have gone to prison. Also tonight, Donald Trump ordered the Justice Department to drop the federal prosecution of New York City Mayor Eric Adams for conspiracy, wire fraud, soliciting illegal foreign campaign contributions from foreign nationals, and bribery. Mayor Adams has been as friendly to the second coming of Donald Trump as any elected Democrat in the country. Defendant Adams has probably been the most friendly Democrat to Donald Trump, because Eric Adams knows, as everyone does, that the way to get anything from Donald Trump is to flatter him. Donald Trump is not ordering the Justice Department to drop the prosecution of Eric Adams because he wants to do Eric Adams a favor. Donald Trump is obviously doing this as another way of saying just how bad and corrupt American prosecutors are, because they have once again prosecuted a politician for doing nothing. That's what the President of the United States wants you to think that prosecutors do. And the President of the United States wants you to think that corrupt judges help those prosecutors prosecute innocent people. And as Donald Trump would say, he would put it, that prosecutors and judges assault innocent people. They didn't assault, they were assaulted.